Hello and welcome once again. Today we will be doing a very interesting automation, how we can handle the scrolling data. That means the data is getting loaded up in the system once we go on scrolling down. So let me show you the first how we can do that in our daily life in a manual ways. Suppose we are searching for jobs in America and we are clicking here 100 more jobs. Now see that this data is getting loaded. At this point we have only 4 chiclets or 4 cards available, right? These are, I'm calling these things as cards. So at this point we have 4 cards, right? So once we go to the end, it is getting loading and is loaded with more data. So at this point we don't have 4, we have this 4 and also the previous loaded data. So let us go down and see another data is getting loaded. Again go down, another data is getting loaded. How we can handle this automation using Uipath. So that is the main motto of this topic today. Let us first do the manual step, understand the case study first, then we will be jump into the automation, because if we understand the case study first manually, then automation will be very much easy for us. So let's see how much it goes. Still it is loading those data. It is still not loaded fully. It is still loading now. At this point, see the highlight has gone. See this black line has gone. That means it's become inactive. That means there is no more data available. So all those data are available inside, is fully available inside this HTML div. Okay. So at this point, if you can remember, at the first point, as a first line, when we have just only clicked this one, we don't have the full set of data, right? We have to go downwards, go to the end of the scrolling data. We have to end of the scrolling data, the loaded data. Then Google is putting some data and data is getting pushed to the system. So we have to handle this dynamically because we don't know how many data will come. It may come 100, it may come 200, it may come 300, or it may come 50. We don't know. So how we need to do that, or how we can handle that thing. So let us first see how the basic flow of how we can handle it, and later on we will be discussing how we can handle this dynamically. So let's go to the Uipath. So I have already created this flow, right? And I will be slowly explaining the each and every aspect of those flows, how I have created and what are the steps I have involved in it. The first thing is that the recording functionality. Through the recording functionality, I have generated this flow and I have used the open browser. You can go to the activities and click on their open browser, and using that open browser I have received this one. Once you receive this one, you will have the area where you need to provide the URL. I have provided google.com, which is the URL, and from there I have clicked the areas where I need to. That means this part is not difficult, it's very easy. Just go to the Google. So at this point of time, let's have a breakpoint at this point, right? I'm putting this break here. So at this point, this highlighted area, I have just opened Google. So in the automations window, we have only this Google opened up here. Now move one step forward. What we have done here is that we have done a click functionality. That means it is going to click here, and then again I will put a data, say, in the search box. So what we will be putting jobs in India. I can change it dynamically before execution. I can make it America or whatever data we want. At this point I am making it jobs in India. So it will write there jobs in India, and it will not press the enter, right? It will just write the jobs in India because we haven't entered anything. It will just click and write their jobs in India. Once we have done that, once we have done the jobs in India, come back to the next flow. What is the next flow? What is the next activity? It is not called flow, it is activities. What are the next activities? The next activity is to click on the Google search, right? The Google search button is here. So I have done a click activity here. So I have done a click and have done Google search, right? You can go to the edit selector and check that it is a Chrome. It will run in Chrome, and the title is Google. and the tag is input and name is this name. Okay, so it's validated and it's fine, no issues on that. So let's move one step again forward and let's click on the Google search here, because we're expecting that it will click the Google search. Next thing is that we need to, for those data's huge amount of data, we need to click here. So we will be just click activities. We will use the click activities and I will do a edit selector and I will using the name only I can find it. Don't bother about this validate because it is all okay. Okay, it is sometimes gives this way, but it is no issues on that. It is running fine. Okay, so go to the click A, that means click 100 more jobs, that is done. So it will click here. Still now we have done the basic thing. The next thing is that we need to scroll it, but if we just open this page and do a scrolling, okay, we need to have the mouse focused in here, right? Because see, this is our mouse. If you are doing a scrolling here, see I am doing scrolling manually, but no effect is happening because our focus of the mouse is not into the scrollable area. So we need to focus our mouse into the scrollable area. For focusing the mouse into the scrollable area, we need to put the mouse somehow into this div, right? This area, the area which I am pointing out, this area, our mouse should be in this area, so that once we have our mouse in this area, we can do a scrolling. If our mouse is in these areas, we will have the scrolling here. So we need to put our mouse in this area. So for the best way for doing so, there can be n number of ways of doing so, but the best and the most stable way which I have found after running many execution is that click on the first element, right? Once you click on the first element or the first card, you will have this mouse already focused in the area which you want. This area you want, so you will have this focus on this area. So it will go on scrolling, right? So we have this area. We will go to again to the click activities and we will take the edit selector, indicate on the screen, and we will do a select area. No issues on that. Fine. Go back to the next one. Click on this div. Once we have clicked on the area which we want, we will click on this div for making the extra sure that this is completely on this location, right? Because sometimes it happened that we click on this link and the whole new page opens up in the new window. So at this point, for that point, the automation will fail. For that reason, we are just making double sure that it is clicking on the div. That means it is at this position only. Once we've done that, we will do a send hotkey. Send hotkey, we will be using the end functionality. That means the end from the keyboard. Once we click on the end from the keyboard, see the data is getting loaded, more data is getting loaded. So we will have this end functionality here, and then we will check for the image exists. So we will wait for whether this image is exist or not. So it will always be exist, because if we have the more data, it will exist. So it will go on looping in. And if this exists, the output variable of this one is value. I have created val, which will be the output, and it will give you as a true. So if it is true for the first line, if it is true, then it will go here, and the condition I will write a while loop, and inside that while loop we will have this condition value as true. This val will become true, and if this condition is true, then only it will enter into this sequence. And in this sequence, what I have done, I have again gave the end key. So it will again give the end key and will load more data. Fine. So given the send hotkey will again send the end key from the keyboard, and it will to the end. It will go to the end, and if new data is loaded, then it will ideally it should come back again and again keep on loading. So this is a while loop, and the first value is true. That means the data is there. So what we will do? We will do a find match activities. This find match activity is a very funny activity. The main aim of this activity I have used is that I want to load that how many this save button is there. This save button is there. See there, here it is 3 button. At the last, if I take you through the last of the last data, see at this it is having 4. Now it is having 1, but again 4. Again it has more or less 3. So I have analyzed after doing couple of execution and some brainstorming. I have understood that, see, this is number 4 is there, and else the minimum number should be less than 3. If it has less than 3, that means it will have no more data. Let's have a look. Keep on scrolling. See, at this point it have only one data, right? Still, if we can manage, it will have 2 data. That means 2 save button. Somehow it will can manage to maximum of 3 data, right? Because at this position, if I consider this one also 3, but still we have 1 data left. So at this point, the ideal it should come here when we press the end key, because it will not, end key means the last area. So ideally that's why you are doing end key. If we press the end key, it will come here. At this moment, if we have, it has an arrangement of neither 2 checklets. So at this moment it have 3 data. What I mean to say is that, see, it can accommodate at this moment 4 data, right? This is the highest number of data it can accommodate at this time. This 4 data, this 4 save button, data means save button. This 4 save button is there. Fine. So if I can do, this is the 3 save button. So it will still consider that it will have a end key and it will run one more time, because I have written the code less than 3. So at this point, if we found this data, so it will not do, because it will have the send key and it have no data. So after doing a few brainstorming, I have found that the only way of doing this is that click on this image, find how many times it is giving the data. At this point it is giving 3. When you will run, you will see that it will give 4, 4, 4, 4. It is running. When it will match 2, then it is exiting the loop and it is coming out of the loop. So whenever it will come 2, condition 2 is less than 3, yes, 2 is less than 3. So it will assign value as false, and once it will get assigned value as false, it will come out of loop and it will go to the home, that means go to the initial position, and it will not able to loop in. I mean, it will not able to again loop into the while loop. So again, I am explaining what I have done. This logic part, it will going from this one is fine. Okay, let me explain you from the while loop first. This while loop is there. We have done the while loop. That means one of the execution is complete. One end command has been pressed and data is getting loaded. At this position, the value will be true. So it will come to the sequence. Once it will come to the sequence, it will press the end key. Once it will done the end key, it will go to the Chrome and it will find the number of data, number of this save buttons it is showing at the screen. If the number of save button is less than 3, then it will assign as false and it will come out of loop. But if it is assigned as true, then it will again go back to the loop. It will check whether it is true or not, and then it will come back. Fine. Once it get the assign button false, it will come, it will make the assign button false and it will check the condition. The condition will not be valid, so it will getting out of the loop by pressing the home. Okay. So this is what I have developed. This entire flow has been in the description box. You can download it from there, and also the case study which I have already explained to you has been also in a written format in the description box.